In November 1872, a merchant ship called the Mary Celeste left New York Harbor. On board were Captain Benjamin Briggs, his family, and several crew members. The ship carried a valuable cargo and was heading across the Atlantic toward Europe. At first, nothing seemed unusual. The Mary Celeste was simply another sailing ship beginning a long ocean journey. But within a few weeks, something would happen that would turn the ship into one of history's greatest maritime mysteries. On December 4th, another ship called the Dei Gratia spotted the Mary Celeste in the Atlantic. Something immediately seemed wrong. The ship was moving strangely, and nobody appeared to be responding. A small boat was sent toward it. When the sailors climbed aboard, they discovered something astonishing. The Mary Celeste was completely empty. There was no captain, no crew, no passengers. Yet the ship was still afloat and largely seaworthy. Its sails were still raised. The mystery had begun. The sailors searched the Mary Celeste carefully. Inside the cabins, personal belongings were still there. Clothing remained. Navigation equipment remained. The cargo was still aboard. There were no obvious signs of a violent struggle. But one important thing was missing. The ship's lifeboat was gone. This suggested that everyone might have left the Mary Celeste voluntarily. But why? Why would an experienced captain abandon a ship that was still capable of sailing? And where could the missing people have gone? Investigators considered several possibilities. One theory suggested that rough weather or problems with the ship's equipment may have convinced the crew that the vessel was unsafe. Another possibility involved alcohol vapors from the cargo. Could a sudden fear of an explosion have caused everyone to leave? Others suggested that the crew may have entered the lifeboat temporarily, expecting to return. But something went wrong. The problem was that none of these explanations could completely solve the mystery. There was no definitive evidence showing exactly what happened, and the Atlantic Ocean had already erased most of the clues. The more investigators examined the Mary Celeste, the stranger the case became. The ship was not found wrecked. It was not burning. Its cargo had not simply disappeared. Instead, the vessel continued drifting across the ocean without the people who had been sailing it. The captain, his family, and the crew were never found. The missing lifeboat offered one possible explanation, but it also created another question. If everyone left the ship, what happened to them afterward? No confirmed answer was ever discovered. More than a century later, the Mary Celeste remains one of the world's most famous maritime mysteries. Storms, equipment problems, cargo vapors, navigation errors, and human decisions have all been suggested as possible explanations. But no theory has completely solved the disappearance. Today, the Mary Celeste is remembered not because it sank, but because it didn't. The ship survived. The cargo survived. The evidence survived. But the people disappeared. And somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic, more than 150 years ago, a decision was made to leave a perfectly capable sailing ship. We may never know why, because the Mary Celeste kept sailing, but its crew never came back.